UnifiedFieldRadio@gmail.com, because I want to hear your concerns. I want to hear your stories like Michael has sent us, because there's a lot of them out there. I just found out something about my own family member that's quite paranormal, but I'm not at liberty to share that information because I haven't spoke to them yet about it directly. But yeah, so a great forum for us to unleash stories that we have and would like to share and progress and expand the critical mass, the equilibrium of expanding consciousness, because it's a whole new world out there, and it's not the world they told us it was. Let's rock and roll. This is the Kathleen Marden interview. I'm your host, Mr. Justin Brown, and this is the Unified Field, Atlantic Canada's only paranormal radio broadcast on 88.1 FM CKDU. Welcome to the Unified Field, Atlantic Canada's only paranormal radio broadcast, and tonight on the program we have Kathleen Marden. Kathleen Marden has written a book about her aunt and uncle called Captured, and Science Was Wrong, a brand new book that just came out with Stanton Friedman in July. We're really lucky to have her here. How you doing, Kathleen?
I'm fine, thank you.
Well, we're really happy to have you here on the program.
I'm so happy to be with you.
Now, we've had Stanton Friedman on, I guess it would be 3 episodes back now, when we did mention Science Was Wrong, so we're really happy to have you on now, because you were the co-author of that new book as well.
Yes, I was. We each wrote 7 chapters.
And it's an interesting book indeed, from what I heard from Stan. We're going to go into that a little bit more later on in the interview, but for all of those people out in Radioland, I'm going to give them a bit of a biography of who you are, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Kathleen Marden earned her B.A. in social work at the University of New Hampshire in 1971. Thereafter, she entered into graduate studies in education at the University of Cincinnati and later UNH. She began her professional career as a social worker and eventually entered the field of education as a teacher. Later, she was promoted to a supervisory position, coordinating education programs and supervising education staff. She left her job in 1990 to pursue a career as a UFO investigator, researcher, and writer. She taught adult education classes on UFO and abduction history, and for 10 years volunteered as the Mutual UFO Network's Director of Field Investigator Training. In 2003, MUFON publicly recognized Kathy for her most outstanding contribution of advancing the scientific study of the UFO phenomenon by dedicating the MUFON UFO proceedings to her. Kathy is currently a full-time writer and lecturer. Several of her articles have been published in the MUFON Journal. Additionally, she has written papers on the use and misuse of hypnosis in abduction investigations, the ethical use of hypnosis in abduction investigations, the comparative analysis of Betty and Barney Hills' statements made under hypnotic regression versus Betty's dream account of abduction, and a critical analysis of the Harvard false memory study of self-reported UFO experiencers. In 2007, her 2007 book Captured, The Betty and Barney Hill UFO Experience, with co-author Stanton T. Friedman, is a case study of her aunt and uncle, Betty and Barney Hill's 1961 UFO close encounter and abduction. Her new and exciting book with co-author Stan Friedman, Science Was Wrong, is now available, and I just mentioned we did an interview with Stan 3 shows back, showcasing a little bit of Science Was Wrong, which was released in June. So that's a bit of background, Kathy. I am so excited to have you here because the abduction phenomenon in general is one I've always been seriously intrigued with, and seems to be evolving and expanding as the years go on, with a lot of detailed and incredible insights coming from the late and great John Mack. Also, I'm happy to have you here because I did pick up Alejandro Rojas's new magazine, Open Minds Magazine. Do you know the publication?
I am familiar with that publication, yes.
Yeah, one of the articles in here, well, the theme of the magazine, of course, is the alien abduction phenomenon. I got it right here in front of me. What a beautiful magazine, too. Alien abduction is one of the most important mysteries of our time. And one of the main abduction articles in this magazine is, of course, synergistically, the Barney and Betty Hill story.
Yes.
So, Kathy Marden, welcome to the Unified Field. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
We're really, really excited. What's been going on for you this summer?
Oh, my goodness. I've been very busy. I traveled to Roswell, New Mexico
Lovely.
at the beginning of July and spoke at the International UFO Museum, did 4 lectures there, and was there with Stanton Friedman and Travis Walton and a number of other important people in the UFO field. And from there, I went to Denver to the MUFON International Symposium, and I lectured there. I have a lecture called The Conundrum of Alien Abduction, and that goes with the last chapter in my book, Science Was Wrong. A lot of very interesting research about the reasons why funding was diverted from academic studies of UFO evidence to the academic study of people who observe UFOs and people who believe they have been abducted, attempting to find a psychological explanation for this sort of thing. And a review of many of these case studies. So a lot of very interesting research, and it was very enjoyable. And right now, I live in Florida, but I'm in Newburyport, Massachusetts, spending some time with my father. I'm at his house, and I'm going to be at the Exeter, New Hampshire UFO Festival on Saturday, September 4th. And Stanton Friedman will be there. I'll be helping him sell books. He's going to be speaking. I won't be speaking this year. Last year I spoke, and I was the MC, but I've stepped aside this year. Peter Robbins will be there as well, and a number of other luminaries in the UFO field.
That is...
It'd be a good convention, UFO festival, and it's free to the public. They're asking only for a contribution.
Really?
Yes.
Do you ever take any time off? Unbelievable.
I have attempted to do that, but I find that it's nearly impossible to take time off. Something is always coming up. I've just been asked to write a chapter in an anthology on UFO abductions. So that's another exciting thing that I'm going to be starting.
Well, congratulations on that and all of the hard work that you've been putting into the field. Do you prefer Kathy or Kathleen?
Kathy is what people normally address me as.
Okay.
Normally.
Well, Kathy, first of all, I've already said congratulations, and I'll reiterate that.
Thank you so much.
No problem. The pleasure's all mine. But I want to thank you also for sticking your neck out here and progressing the field of expanding consciousness in the in multiple arenas, but specifically in helping to shed more light on the abduction phenomena. So thanks very much, because the world needs more truth seekers, and we all really appreciate your dedication to the field.
Well, thank you. I take a scientific approach to this. I think so many people in the abduction field are not really taking a scientific approach and have a great deal of difficulty in sorting out fact from fiction and fantasy from reality. And that was the reason I started my research for Chapter 14 in Science Was Wrong. So I take a pretty narrow view of it, I guess. I would have to say limited in terms of science. But that's where I have to come from, I think, in terms of alien abduction, because otherwise it would be terribly, terribly confusing. Because I believe that there are a lot of people who, not intentionally, but simply because of perhaps dream experiences, believe they might have been abducted when they really have not been. So I look for evidence in terms of physical evidence and circumstantial circumstantial evidence, missing time, for example, after having observed a UFO. That is having a close encounter, not just seeing a light in the sky. And so I have to limit what I do to the scientific evidence and not hearsay.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're doing a fine job of it. Now, I want to talk about Captured because I'm really excited about this because I'm very familiar with the Betty and Barney Hill experience. But I understand that there have been more revelations that have come in the book Captured with Stan, and I want to get to that. But for all of those people out in Radioland who have not heard the most famous and story of the abduction phenomenon on a number of fronts, mostly because it was the first mass related story of the phenomenon, but also it hit a lot of highly political subjects at the time, one being the fact that they were an interracial couple in a very progressive time, them themselves being activists. Can you give us a bit of a background on the story?
Yes, I can.
And we'll get to that right after a short break here on the Unified Field.
Don't touch that dial. An alternate reality awaits.
I'm David Suzuki. The average lunch or dinner travels 2,400 kilometers to get to your table. Eating local means combating global warming. The future is on your table.
Eat your way to a healthier planet. Find out how at davidsuzuki.org.
Unified Field Radio.
What? I don't know.
What was it read?
It's like when you go to read your own poetry, you get all choked up.
Listen up and I'll tell a story about an artist growing old. Some would try for fame and glory, others aren't so bold. Everyone and friends and family saying, hey, get a job. Why do you only do that only? Why are you so odd? We don't really like what you do. We don't think anyone ever will. It's a problem that you have, and this problem's made you ill. Listen up and I'll tell a story about an artist growing old. Some would try for fame and glory, others aren't so bold. The artist walks alone. Someone says behind his back, he's got his gall to call himself that. He doesn't even know where he's at. The artist walks among the flowers, appreciating the sun. He does this all his waking hours. But is it really so wrong? They sit in front of their TVs, saying, hey, this is fun. And they laugh at the artist, saying he doesn't know how to have fun. The best things in life are truly free. Singing birds and laughing bees. You got me wrong, says he. The sun don't shine in your TV. Listen up and I'll tell a story.